What's up guys, my name is Ace, and yesterday I made a video talking about a bunch of the issues that persisted with Season 2, as well as some new issues that popped up, and today we got a small update that took care of most of these issues. So in today's really quick video, I just wanted to go through the list of things that were fixed, or at least apparently fixed with this update. Of course, I am going to rely on some of you guys to share your experiences to see if these were actually fixed, especially with the first one, which is that Master Prestige congratulations screen. Before Season 2, if you hit Master Prestige after every game, you would get that pop-up saying congratulations for reaching Master Prestige. Then with Season 2, that was meant to go away, and it was only supposed to appear when you hit Master Prestige once. However, that wasn't working properly for most people. A lot of people found a workaround, which is if you plug a mouse in and click continue, then it would get rid of that for good, but that wasn't working for everyone. Now, after this update, apparently they have fixed this completely, and this is where I'm going to need you guys to let me know down below. For those of you that are Master Prestige, after this update, is this still popping up for you, or is it finally fixed? Next up, one of the big issues that popped up with the Season 2 update is players were having a hard time joining their friends because, according to an error, it would say that you were on a different version to them. That one has also apparently been fixed, but again, if you guys have experienced that after this update, please let me know. Additionally, there was a new bug that popped up with split screen players where player 2 would just be immediately kicked if you tried to enable split screen. That should also be fixed now. Next up, now that we have crossplay options for ranked play, they're finally investigating an issue that's actually been around since launch, for us PlayStation players at least, that have had the ability to turn off crossplay. And this is when you change that setting, it often only changes for one match, and as soon as that match is over, it resets that setting back to where it was previously. And they are now finally investigating this issue because it's popping up for ranked play players. One thing I will say is the community has found a workaround for this in the past, and it has worked for me very consistently. If you're having this issue where your crossplay option keeps resetting itself, what I found is if you set your crossplay option to what you want it to be, after that, before searching for a game or anything, close your game and relaunch it. After that, when you reboot, double check that that setting has saved, and it should have by now, and then at that point, as long as you don't touch it, it should stay consistent for you. Again, it's frustrating to have to do these workarounds, and we shouldn't have to do them in the first place, but this is something you can do in the meantime while they are investigating this issue. Now, on top of that, with this patch, they addressed an issue where prestige challenges were not populating the nearest to completion list in the challenge tracker. They addressed an issue that prevented tiers from being displayed in the challenge tracker. They addressed an issue where the pin challenges on the challenge tracker were not displaying correctly. And unfortunately, this isn't the issue that I brought up yesterday. My big issue with the challenge tracker right now is when you're actually in the game and you want to check your progress on your challenges, if you're working on multiple guns at the same time or you're swapping back and forth, even after this update, I still can't find a way to scroll through the challenges that I'm currently tracking. It only displays the top one that's being tracked, or the one that I selected first to be tracked. And as far as I can tell, there's no way to scroll through and see the other ones when you're actually in a match. And there's nothing on the screen that tells me a button that allows me to do that. I tried just pressing random buttons. That wasn't working either. So it doesn't appear that there's any way to scroll through that, and that is a problem and largely defeats the purpose of having this challenge tracker in place. Next up, they addressed an issue where XP earned and the Black Cell XP bonus were flipped in the after action report. And then finally, for the UI section here, they addressed an issue where the challenge tracker would not automatically cycle to the next page after 8 seconds. And this is when you're just in the lobby screen. It should automatically cycle between your daily challenges to your camo track challenges to your calling card track challenges. And that is working properly now. After that, something that actually relates to gameplay, they improved the muzzle flash on all SMGs when aiming down sights. And I took a close look at this pre-patch versus post-patch, and the amount of muzzle flash seems to be about the same, but there's one key difference now that I noticed, and that is pre-patch, you can see that there's muzzle flash directly behind your front sight. So between your front sight and your target, making it hard to see your target. Whereas post-patch, if you just focus in on where that front sight is, there's no muzzle flash there anymore. It only comes out the side. And therefore, as you're aiming down sight and shooting at your target, you should be able to see them a lot more clearly. And this is a subtle but very welcome change in my eyes. Then they fixed an issue that popped up with Season 2 where Weaver's Knock Rider skin would have an extra skull on the operator selection menu. Then for hardcore game modes, I was a bit surprised to see they added spawn protection, and I'm curious to see how this plays out. Perhaps I'll try to do some testing on this in the future, but I don't think it's going to work properly in custom games. I think we have to actually do testing in public matches. I definitely see this potentially causing frustration. I'm personally against having any form of spawn protection against guns in Call of Duty, simply because I feel we're going to be running into situations where, through no fault of your own, you have an enemy spawn really close to you, and you start shooting them, but you can't deal damage to them. And in hardcore especially, all they have to do is turn and shoot you once and you're dead. And I think that's going to cause a lot of frustration for players that aren't even trying to like manipulate the spawns in any way. They just happen to have an enemy spawn next to them. And I think that's going to happen a lot, especially on maps like Stakeout 24/7, but we'll have to see how the reception for this one goes. Then for leaderboards, they added a filter to multiplayer leaderboards to toggle between core and hardcore modes. Apparently that was actually added on the 29th, but I think they forgot to put that in the patch notes. And then finally here, for the multiplayer side of things, they addressed an issue that prevented the flowing low challenge from tracking progress. And apparently that's the one big challenge that was preventing people from getting their 100%er. That should now be fixed. But again, if you guys are having any issues with anything they pointed out today and it's still broken for you, please let me know in those comments. Because as we've learned, them putting it in their patch notes doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually been fixed. And with that, that's pretty much it. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. And this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about these changes and fixes that they made with this small update? For me, well, of course, it would be great to just not have these issues pop up in the first place with a major update. At least when they do, it's nice to see them get on top of these in a timely manner. I do think this was a pretty quick turnaround, and it's nice to see many of them apparently taken care of. Now, of course, like I said, I do want to hear what you guys think about this, though. And if you enjoyed this video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.